Families of the students involved in the Moore car crash are speaking out. What President Trump said at the prayer breakfast after being acquitted, and with snow on the ground, class is still in session and students might not be the happiest. OU Nightly starts now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Austin Hernandez.
And I'm Tevis, Hillis. Now we begin with a big thaw right after a record-breaking snowfall. Cal Day is live with us to talk about how students are upset that the classes were canceled
Some
today.
of the students I talked to today said after they commuted to class, they wish they would have just taken another snow day. But instead of a quiet campus, students were told classes would resume at 10:30 this morning after having Wednesday off.
I think it was a little frustrating and everyone coming on campus at the same time.
Andrew McGee commutes almost 2 miles to campus every day.
I just got out of class I had at about 12 and the roads were still pretty slick at about 11:30 when I was driving.
Although the temperatures were forecasted to rise above freezing before noon, there's still plenty sites of snow. As a result, many levels of parking garages had to be closed. McGee says this should have been a sign to close all day.
I definitely think it would have been safer, especially with the parking, because the parking on this campus is already short enough.
Surrounding districts, including Norman, chose to keep their doors closed. McGee agrees with their decision.
I think it's kind of pointless to open the campus about halfway through the day. Some people normally even have their classes earlier.
Yeah, good evening, Tevis. I'm right here on the Norman campus where earlier today students came back at a later start time. This came after the decision from the university last night, and it was pretty early in the night when they made this decision. The students who commuted to school today tell me they wish the university would have taken another snow day.
We apologize about those technical difficulties. We're actually going to take it out to Thomas Schmidt, who is out live with the first look at weather. Thomas, take it away.
Well, that's right. It's still plenty cold outside here. You can see behind me, you might see some remains of some snowmen that once were standing tall, but now as the sun shines brightly, they're beginning to slowly melt away. Now, the melting will continue. I don't expect we'll see too much snow remaining for the weekend, but how much snow did we see? Well, here in Oklahoma City, we did see about 4.6 inches of snow. Notice down to the south and west, up near Wichita Falls, there was a band and a kind of a pocket of heavier snow. Total is about 6 to 8 inches up there, down there in southwestern Oklahoma. But most of us here, take up for the Panhandle, the Northwest, don't see a whole lot of snow there, just trace amounts. They've had their fair share, in my own opinion. It's time we got ours, and we certainly did yesterday. So coming up in Maine weather, we have a warm up coming our way. The snow is going to continue to melt, and we may see another round of rain coming our way. All coming up in Maine weather. Guys, back to you.
Now, thanks, Thomas. There's new information tonight about the tragic crash that took lives of some Moore High School students earlier this week. 2 students have lost their life after being hit by a pickup truck, while 4 other students have injuries. One is in critical condition. The father of Rachel Freeman, one of the victims killed in the crash, wrote on Facebook, "Understand how fragile life really is and ponder where you'd spend eternity if your next breath were your last." The families are still asking for thoughts and prayers, while several are GoFundMe accounts created to help families and students. The driver of the truck is in Cleveland County Jail tonight. Charges are expected to be filed against him tomorrow.
President Donald Trump spoke out at the White House for the first time after being acquitted in his Senate's impeachment trial. He stated this should never happen to another president, but meanwhile at the Capitol, a very different message was given from the Speaker of the House. CNN's Camila Bernal has this report from Washington.
An acquitted President Trump walking into a standing ovation and describing what he says he's been through since he decided to run for president.
It was evil, it was corrupt, it was dirty cops, it was leakers and liars.
With praises to his legal team, the president reiterating his innocence.
We went through hell unfairly, did nothing wrong, But this is what the end result is.
But over at Capitol Hill, a very different message.
you're impeached forever. You're never getting rid of that scar.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi saying the House will continue with oversight.
You were impeached for undermining the security of our country, jeopardizing the integrity of our elections, and violating the Constitution of the United States.
The bad blood between the two with no end in sight.
Nancy Pelosi is a horrible person. And she wanted to impeach a long time ago when she said, I pray for the president. I pray for the president. She didn't pray.
I pray hard for him because he's so off the track of our Constitution. He really needs our prayers. So he can say whatever he wants.
In Washington, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
Caroline Grace is in the News Center with more on the prayer breakfast as well as the rest of today's national headlines. Caroline.
Thank you, Austin. After President Trump spoke this morning, the keynote speaker at the prayer breakfast encouraged biblical love amid a nationwide crisis of contempt and polarization. Arthur Brooks claimed that when it comes to an old problem, it's important to think differently to achieve a new and effective solution.
See it as your opportunity. I want you to imagine that there's a sign over the door as you leave. It's a sign that many of you have seen in churches. It's not a sign in churches coming into the church. It's the sign that you see over the doors going out into the parking lot. Here's what it says. You are now entering mission territory. If you see the world, if we see the world outside this room as mission territory, who knows? We might just mark this day, February 6th, 2020, the National Prayer Breakfast in Washington, D.C., as the point at which our national healing begins.
Brooks, who's the author of 11 books, ended with a scripture reading that said, "Love your enemies and pray for those who prosecute you." And lots of people are talking about the move made by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi after the State of the Union speech on Tuesday night. At the end of the president's speech, Pelosi could be seen tearing up her copy of what the president read. Pelosi addressed the public in regards to ripping up the paper copy, saying she defends her actions and she considered the paper copy to be a collection of false statements, calling them a manifesto of mistruths. And there are still serious questions about what happened in Iowa this week and how it should be handled. Democratic National Committee Chair Tom Perez is calling for Iowa Democratic officials to recanvass Monday's caucus vote. Perez claims there are growing concerns about inconsistencies found in the data. A recanvass would just mean double-checking the vote, resulting in Iowa officials having to hand audit the caucus worksheets and reporting forms. And a high-speed train has derailed in northern Italy, killing the 2 train conductors and leaving dozens injured. Firefighters have been working at the scene all morning. Investigators aren't sure how fast the train was going when it derailed. Back to you guys at the desk.
Tuesday night, tensions were high at the Norman City Council meeting as the council met to discuss the possibility of Norman becoming a sanctuary city. The idea came from the Inclusive Committee Subcommittee. They received 288 survey responses after 8 days of having it on the city's website in October. As this represents less than 1% of the community residents, the subcommittee did not believe this demented the value of the survey. As this meeting was the first time hearing recommendations on inclusive policies, council made it clear that it was not going to pursue any action to designate Norman as a sanctuary city.
And new information tonight about just how early China knew about the coronavirus. Hear what happened to the first doctor who tried to warn the Chinese government.
Plus, a new bill when it comes to abortion in our state. Straight ahead on OU Nightly.
Time is running out for anyone who wants to vote in Oklahoma's presidential primary. You have until 5 p.m. Friday to register, vote, or change your party affiliation. Anyone who is a resident of Oklahoma and at least 18 years or old can register. You can do that online at the State Election Board website or at any tag agency in the state. The presidential primary is March 3rd. If you are interested in changing your party affiliation, you can also have to do that by the end of this business day tomorrow.
Skylar Tallal joins us with the latest on the coronavirus and Oklahoma's newest bill in today's Health Beat. Skylar.
Thank you, Austin. The Chinese doctor Li Wenliang, who tried warning others of the coronavirus, has officially died. Wen Liang had given an early warning of the virus and was later reprimanded by police for spreading rumors online in the early weeks of the outbreak. The coronavirus has killed more than 560 people and infected over 28,000 in China. 2 newborn babies also tested positive for the coronavirus, and it is not yet known if it was through a mother-infant transfer. 260 confirmed cases of the coronavirus have been reported in 25 countries outside of mainland China. Symptoms of the virus are similar to the flu, including fever, cough, and shortness of breath. Health experts say there are a few things you can do to help protect yourself from being infected. These include staying home if you are sick, washing your hands, avoiding contact with other sick people, not traveling to China, and if you have recently, to go get tested. The Oklahoma House passed a new anti-abortion measure today on a 71-21 vote. The bill would suspend the medical license of any doctor who performs an abortion in Oklahoma. The measure still has to make its way through the Oklahoma Senate, but Governor Kevin Stitt has said he will sign any anti-abortion bill that comes his way. If signed, this issue will most likely face a court challenge where abortion rights groups have been successful before. Back to you guys at the desk.
Any college student knows how hard it is to pay for their debt.
Yeah, here at the University of Oklahoma, they are offering a program to help out with the expenses. Stick with OU Nightly and we will tell you more.
This is OU Nightly weather, and take a look at those cameras. We got scenes of Oklahoma there. Still see some snow here on the rooftops of our Norman Cam. Beautiful shot of downtown Oklahoma City there. Plenty of sunshine, but don't let the sunshine deceive you, for our temperatures are still fairly chilly. So we're still chilly because here in Oklahoma City area we did get 4.6 inches of snowfall, which is bringing our temperatures down. Now only 2.4 up in Tulsa there, lighter amounts to the north and west, especially down to the south and east as well. Take a notice here, down 6 to 8 inches right on the Wichita Falls area up in this Texas-Oklahoma border there in southwestern Oklahoma. 6 to 8 inches, that's a lot of snow there, and they will be cold for quite a few days after. So when you go out to the snow, what do? You build snowmen. So we got some snow photos here from our viewer. We got Brittany Brown sending photos. We've got a nice little classic snowman. This is being sent in from our viewers right now. So right now we have current temperatures, Oklahoma City, we're in the mid-upper 30s there. So like I said, still fairly chilly. The sun is out, so it does could warm you up a little bit quicker. But notice here on the map where the snow has fallen, we're still much cooler than where they didn't see as much snow up there in the northwestern part of the state. So again, that snow does bring down our temperatures. Now we're not quite done with this moisture train, the rain train. This isn't our stop yet. We're still going to be seeing a cold front come through, and that's going to be giving us our next chance for rain down there to the southeastern part of the state. And for tonight, we're going to expect 24, so we're going to be well below freezing. So again, whatever moisture is left over on the roads is going to freeze over. So again, this is kind of the snow-packed area here all the way down the I-44 corridor. So taking a look at tomorrow, we are going to be a little warmer, so any snow remaining should be melted by then with a 48 degrees here in Norman, 48 Oklahoma City. Again, still have some of those blue colors in there because whatever snow does remain will be slowly beginning to melt. Now, Friday again, 47, 52 for your Saturday there, and the sun is going to be out for both these days. Could see a couple clouds come in on Saturday, but Friday again, sunny. The snow is going to continue to melt. It's going to be warming up, and the winds are going to be returning from the south, bringing our temperatures up to Sunday to a 59 degrees. Could see a spotty shower or two sometime Sunday as we see a weak cold front come through, bring our temperatures down to the 40s again, and we are tracking that rain system coming up through Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Tuesday and Wednesday of next week there with highs in the 50s. And it's going to look good. The snow's going to continue to melt. Guys, if you haven't made a snowman yet, might not see another chance until later in February, but we're still looking at that.
Glad to see it's going to warm up. Now, the University of Oklahoma is offering a new program for students who receive Oklahoma's Promise. Crimson Commitment will waive a tuition fee and allow up to $8,000 to cover fees. In order to qualify, you must already be qualified for Oklahoma's Promise and be a first full-time freshman. There is no separate application for Crimson Commitment, and the amount received will be varied based on major.
And big news in the NBA, the trade deadline just passed.
Now, I heard tensions were high. Hey, Will, what's the damage?
Well, Tevis, the league has shifted a lot in the last couple of hours. We'll be looking at where everybody ended up and much more, so stay tuned because sports is next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Will Blessing, and it's time for sports. Starting off with women's basketball, they faced off last night against the West Virginia Mountaineers and were able to come away with a win 68-58 to improve to 500 in the Big 12. But last night was more than a win for junior guard Anna Yanusa. After missing 18 games due to IR, Yanusa came back swinging, reaching her 1,000th career point. She is now the 36th player in program history to do this and the 17th to do it in 3 or fewer seasons. Coach Sherry Cole seemed to be happier that 22 was healthy versus her 1,000th point.
I just loved the fact that she looked like herself tonight, the way she was moving, and I'm happy to see her being able to play without the pain.
National Signing Day was yesterday, and Lincoln Riley added to the already impressive 2020 signing class by adding Joshua Eaton and Reggie Grimes. Eaton is a 4-star cornerback from Houston and is ranked as the number 44 prospect in Texas, according to Rivals. Grimes is now the highest-rated signee in the class, coming in as the nation's number 31 overall recruit. Nationwide, OU now ranks number 9 in recruiting. Looking ahead, the Sooners have a busy next couple of days. OU softball is still on the road in Puerto Vallarta and takes on Nevada at 6 tonight. The men's tennis team will suit up tomorrow to face the Razorbacks for a night match. And finally, the sprinting Sooners will have their first home meet this weekend when they compete in the J.D. Martin Invitational. All around the Sooner sports world, teams are looking to dominate as each team carries high expectations. The NBA trade deadline was earlier today, and we saw some massive last-minute trades. The first trade doesn't come as much surprise as it started a couple of days ago. The Memphis Grizzlies trade Andre Iguodala to the Miami Heat for Justice Winslow. And Thunder fans can stop holding their breath. The talks to send Danilo Gallinari to Miami as part of this trade fell through. D'Angelo Russell has a new home in Minnesota. The Golden State guard was sent to the Timberwolves in exchange for Andrew Wiggins and 2 2021 draft picks. Russell will pair with Karl Anthony Towns, who was drafted 1 spot ahead of him in 2015. Staying in the NBA world, the Thunder faced off against the Cavaliers and put up an insane defensive performance. The lead fluctuated between the two teams throughout the game, but Dennis Schroeder was able to lock up the win 109-103. The real MVP was the defense, with the Thunder forcing 20 turnovers on the Cavs. But no, that isn't everything. The game also marked point guard Chris Paul's 1,000th career game. You can catch the Thunder back in action tomorrow against Detroit. Finally, after celebrating in Disneyland, the Chiefs brought the party back home to Kansas City. Although the day may have started off rough with a car chase through the parade route, everything else ran pretty smoothly, letting Chiefs players and fans celebrate after the long wait. Some fans went a little too hard as 5 arrests were reported, 1 for riding a horse. Now, guys, I think the horse is warranted. It's been a while since they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree. It's been a while since that city's seen a Super Bowl. Let them celebrate.
Let them be cool for the day.
Right.
Ride the horse.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Now, with Valentine's coming up, and a famous brewer company is wanting to pay you.
Find out how you can get paid and have a furry friend by your side coming up on OU Nightly.
I'm Abigail Averitt at the OU Nightly Update Desk. NASA's record-setting Cook crew has finally landed today. Christina Cook has spent nearly 11 months in orbit to set a record for the longest space flight by a woman. Cook landed safely today in Kazakhstan along with 2 other International Space Station crewmates. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
Coors Light is encouraging you to ditch the stuffed animal this Valentine's Day and chill with the dog and a beer instead. The beer company is offering $100 to cover adoption fees.
Nothing like it. The deal is available for the first 1,000 people between now and February 21st. Now remember, you must be the legal drinking age and submit a receipt of the adoption to the beer company via text message. According to ASPCA, 6.5 million animals enter the shelter each year. The Humane Society says more than 2 million are healthy and treated.
Thomas, you want to cap us off with one last weather recap?
Yeah, was it safe to drive or walk our dog around?
Oh yeah, earlier today, absolutely.
Good.
Whatever snow is left on the ground is going to continue to melt as the sun continues to shine out there. So if you did make any snowmen, get a picture out there real quick. I know I had a bunch of friends of mine make snowmen, and now they're just starting to crumble apart, really fall apart, and so I don't expect to see too much snow left over for us into the weekend. I know a lot of kids had a lot of fun out there on the South Oval. Had a little snowball fight going on.
I know, the pictures were amazing.
No, it was. It
was.
Now,
it was fun.
I didn't get a chance to go out there and build a snowman, but like you said, hurry up and get. Maybe we can build like a little.
Should we go out there right now?
We should.
Once we finish the show, we're making a snowman.
We should jump out there and make a quick snowman and see how fast we can do it. But yeah, so that's all the time we have for OU Nightly.
And don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 4:30 live for another show.
Have a great evening.
Good night.